What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett from Rants. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Zack Snyder's 5-movie plan for Superman that never came into being. Let's just put it that way. After his departure from Justice League, we were never able to see the full nature of Zack Snyder's plan for Superman, or just for the DCEU as a whole. But there's a few problems that I have with this article that's stating, where Zack Snyder's stating this, is because the executives at DC looked at his plan as a plan to nowhere. And that actually makes sense, because while Marvel was making millions or billions and billions of dollars out there with Captain America and Captain Marvel and all these different, the Avengers, all of these different characters that they made into this gigantic MCU cinematic universe, DCEU really had no plan. It was just random movies that was just out in the middle of basically the desert, just wandering around with no purpose whatsoever. So for now, Zack Snyder to come out there and say, well, I actually had a plan, but unfortunately we just won't get to ever see that plan because I'm not coming back. But he likes to tease now. He likes to tease that actually he could have been the savior of it. I don't buy into it, Zack Snyder. I don't think you actually had a plan. I don't think that you could ever come back from the terrible movies that you made and somehow be the savior of DC. That's my take on it. But just let me read y'all a little bit of this article, because I actually thought it was kind of telling of actually Zack Snyder as a person. It says Zack Snyder's 5-movie DCEU plan would have seen Henry Cavill's Superman turn into the classic Superman seen in the comics, as Snyder gears up to release his cut of Justice League this year. Much of the focus is on what his plans were for the DCEU. Once seen as the architect of the next great cinematic universe, Snyder's plans for the DCEU were put on hold after his departure from Justice League and the poor reception to the DCEU as it stood. And it comes on down here to state, still, and this is after his departure, still Snyder, and also where he's saying that he'll never return. It says right here, still Snyder has been steadily teasing just what would have happened in his plans for the DCEU. This included a 5-movie arc heavily focused on Cavill's Superman, who debuted in 2013's Man of Steel. This 5-movie arc, Snyder revealed in an interview with Comic Book Debate, would have seen Superman becoming the classic hero as seen in the comics. After his journey into darker territory in Man of Steel and the original Justice League, Snyder says that in this arc, the black suit Cavill wears in Justice League is a marker of progress, and that eventually Superman's full potential would have been realized. You might have had Superman's potential been realized, but again, this doesn't change anything. The executives at DC felt like his plans were going nowhere. They felt like that is with Justice League, it was going nowhere. There was no DCEU where that there was all these movies come together and coalesce into this perfect unit. It was garbage before that. It was garbage with Zack Snyder's DCEU before he was, let go or left in Justice League. But now as fans, as DC fans, we are looking for something, anything that could have made this universe as good as the MCU. And unfortunately, it just isn't there. It just isn't there, guys. We could hope, we could pray, we could want it so bad that the DCEU actually had something going. If only Zack Snyder would have stayed on. If only there would have never been a Joss Whedon's Justice League. we could have actually got to see it to its full potential. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I just have no hope for the DCEU. I just feel like at this point they need to scrap it, and then just start anew. You could keep, Jason Momoa, Henry Cavill. You could keep all those people. You could just switch out just start it over. Let's see a good cohesive set of movies that actually has a plan to go somewhere. I'm tired of DC failing to live up to Marvel. DC has some of the most interesting superheroes out there. You cannot tell me that in this day and age, as many series, as many, just series, cartoons, movies over the years when it comes to Batman, Superman, all of these different characters that we have come to love in so many successful shows. Look at Gotham. Look at the original Batman, the animated series. Look at Batman Beyond. All of those different things had Batman being successful. But for some reason, in the DC overall arc of things, these movies didn't ever live up to par. I mean, of course, Christopher Nolan's Batman was pretty good. It was pretty good. But, if you want to make it into a cinematic universe where that you have his Batman coming into contact with Superman and Aquaman and all of that, you're going to need to reboot all those movies. Somehow, from the very beginning, just make it where that, okay, Justice League is the end game here. I don't believe Christopher Nolan's Batman actually had the idea in mind of Batman actually corresponding with the Justice League. It was just a movie set in Gotham showing the progression of Batman. And unfortunately, it just DC just had a road to nowhere, guys, and I'm disappointed in it. I actually kind of think, it's probably time to reboot these movies, and I think we need to reboot them quickly, because I don't really see the MCU as coming back as strong as what it was at one time. I see the MCU as actually on the decline. I think people are actually kind of sick and tired of comic book movies at this point. So I don't think they have much time. I think if they're actually going to make something out of this, they probably have about a 5-year window to do this. And if they don't do it, I don't know. I mean, I just kind of feel like fans will always look at this as what could have been. And that's sad. And we don't need to be sitting there having that, because you'll have 10 years down the road people saying, well, if only Zack Snyder could have finished his plan, Marvel never would have won. DC would be seen as top dog on that. I don't personally believe it, but I don't want that to necessarily be the case. I want DC to make really great movies for DC fans. And unfortunately, that just hasn't been the case so far. But, I've always got hope. I hope they decide that maybe, we're going to reboot this. We're going to do it exactly like what the MCU did. We're going to make this cinematic universe that people are going to be amazed by. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is a window that is a lot longer. Let's say 10 years, where that DC can make a phase 1 or phase 2 or phase 3, phase 4, where that they can create all these different cohesive movies and make them into something that is a work of art, kind of like what the MCU is. But we'll just have to see. I mean, the MCU's not perfect, and I don't expect DCEU's movies to be perfect either. But you know what? I just wish that I'm just tired. Well, let me just put it this way: I'm just tired of the what ifs from DC. I don't want what ifs anymore. I want I want to see DC living up to the standards that it should be. Superman, Batman movies, Aquaman movies, all of those movies should be at the top of their game. They should all be great. There's no reason, because those are great characters just in themselves. Basically, these movies should write themselves, and unfortunately, they're not. Zack Snyder, I thought, did a really terrible job with some of them. I just don't like his form of movies. I just am not really a huge fan of that. But overall, guys, let me know what y'all think. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Y'all take care.